All right, let's talk about something that costs companies millions. They invest all this money into fancy systems to manage their most valuable asset, and yet it just keeps leaking away. Today, we're going to dig into why knowledge sharing so often fails and uncover the real reason your company's collective brain might not be working the way it should.
Seriously, just think about that for a second. Your company tracks inventory, right? It tracks every dollar of revenue. But what about all the expertise, the hard-won experience, those little aha moments that are scattered all across your organization? You could argue that this knowledge is the most strategic asset you have, but it's almost always the one we manage the worst.
And look, this isn't just a small-scale headache. For the real giants of the business world, the big multinational corporations, this problem becomes a massive, existential challenge.
You can think of a multinational company as one giant brain, but it's spread all over the globe. The team in Germany might have already figured out a solution to a problem the team in Brazil is just hitting now. Connecting those scattered pieces of knowledge isn't just about being a little more efficient. In today's market, it's literally about being able to innovate, compete, and survive.
And the pressure is only getting more intense. We've got rapid globalization, brand new tech popping up every single day, incredibly fierce financial competition. Plus, it's harder to find skilled workers, and when you do, they change jobs more often than ever. All of this creates a perfect storm that makes it absolutely critical and way, way harder to capture what people know before they and their knowledge walk right out the door. So, faced with this enormous problem, what did companies do? Well, they did what most of us do in the digital age. They turned to technology for the answer.
And they built these things called knowledge management systems, or a KMS. The idea was pretty simple, right? Let's create a digital corporate brain. One central place where we can put all the important stuff, best practices, project reports, you name it, so anyone can find it.
This was the big promise. This was the idea that sold millions and millions of dollars in software. The belief was kind of like, if you build it, they will come. Just create the technical pipes, and all that valuable knowledge will just naturally start flowing through them. But as so many companies found out the hard way, it's just not that simple.
Because a pipeline is totally useless if nobody is willing to put anything into it, or if they don't trust what comes out of it. And this is where the human element just completely changes the entire game.
And here's where you can really see the massive disconnect. On one side, you have the tech-centric view. It's all about features, tools, control, and making policies so people have to use it. But then you have the human reality. The actual employees are asking way different questions. Is this thing even useful? Is it easy to use? Can I trust the stuff I find in here? And let's be honest, they're asking, what's in it for me?
This quote, which came directly from employee interviews, says it all. You know, the benchmark for a good user experience isn't some other clunky piece of corporate software. It's Google, it's Twitter. It's the tools we use every day that are simple, intuitive, and built around us, the users. If your big, expensive knowledge system is a pain to use, people just won't. End of story.
And that's really just scratching the surface. The research uncovered all these deep human barriers. People won't share if they don't trust where the information is coming from. Some people hoard knowledge because, knowledge is power and it makes them feel important. And then you've got office politics, people not getting any recognition for sharing. Even things like poor internet in some regions can bring the whole system to a grinding halt. A fancy piece of software can't fix any of that.
So if technology by itself isn't the magic bullet, then what is? Well, a big survey of over 200 employees pointed to one single incredibly powerful factor that overrides almost everything else.
And there it is. This is the big reveal. The environment you work in, the shared values, the unspoken rules, the way people treat each other, it's more important than any software you could ever buy. Your company's culture is what ultimately determines whether knowledge gets locked up in silos or shared freely for everyone's benefit.
Okay, so what does this winning culture actually look like? Well, the research zeroed in on 4 key things. First, involvement, which means people feel empowered and they're encouraged to work in teams. Then you need consistency, a strong set of shared values that everyone understands and believes in. The culture also has to be adaptable, meaning the company actually listens to feedback and isn't afraid of change. And finally, you need a clear mission, so everyone knows why they're doing what they're doing.
So this is where it all clicks into place. These cultural traits don't just create a nice place to work. They are the engine that directly drives the success of the entire knowledge-sharing system.
See, it all starts with building that supportive culture. When you've got those 4 traits we just talked about, you're laying a foundation of trust, empowerment, and collaboration. And that culture directly changes how people see the technology you give them. In a really supportive environment, people are way more likely to look at the KMS and think, hey, this is actually useful, and wow, this is pretty easy to use, because it just fits with the way they already work together.
And it's common sense, right? Positive feelings lead to positive actions. When people see the system as a valuable tool that's not a hassle to use, they actually use it. They share what they know, they search for answers, they help each other out, then knowledge finally starts to flow.
And this isn't just a nice theory. The data absolutely proves this chain reaction is real. The study found these clear, statistically significant links at every single step. You can see how a strong culture makes people use the system more. That increased usage then directly boosts knowledge sharing. And here's the kicker. That sharing has the strongest impact of all, leading to better overall company performance. It's a clear, evidence-based path to success.
And this isn't just some soft, feel-good concept. We're talking about a real, bottom-line impact. The model showed that getting knowledge sharing right could account for nearly 19% of a company's total effectiveness. That is a huge, measurable impact on performance and profitability.
I think this quote from the research just wraps it all up perfectly. A system that actually works and adapts isn't about having the best code. It's about having the right culture. The technology has to be built to serve how people actually work, not the other way around.
So, there you have it. The winning formula isn't about choosing between culture or technology. It's about leading with culture first. You have to build that supportive, collaborative environment and then bring in technology that's truly designed for the people who are going to use it, making it simple, intuitive, and genuinely helpful.
And all this really leaves us with one final big question for you to think about. What about your own workplace? Is the culture there an engine that helps people share what they know, or is it the biggest lock on the door? The answer to that could be the key to unlocking your organization's greatest and maybe most invisible asset.